Look at this, it's all going to fall out. Oh my word. Look at that. Old-fashioned cooking brought up to date. Hi everyone, welcome to Backyard Chef. I'm Rick. Today we're doing a British classic. We're making a beef and mushroom suet crust steamed pudding. So easy to do. I'm using shin beef. A very underrated cut these days, and you know, people don't buy it. But shin beef is tough but very flavorful. So once it's slow cooked, you know, the flavor is just out of this world. It is proper beef flavor. Now the thing is, with this recipe, traditionally you would boil it all up on a stove, keep giving it a stir and cook it for about 2.5–3 hours. I'm using the Instant Pot. We are going to cook it for about 25–30 minutes. That is it. So if you have an Instant Pot, do it the quick way. If you don't, do it on the stove, about 2.5 hours. Now our shin beef wants a bit of seasoning. So, you know, a little bit of salt in there. And some pepper. Now this is the only time that you're going to season this meat, so you do it properly. And then get your hand in. I was going to get a spoon, but I'll wash my hands. Give it all a good coating over with your seasoning. Now I've got about just over 500 grams of half a kilo of shin beef here. Right, and we're doing old-fashioned cooking, which people are starting to forget. Get some flour in there. Flour up your meat. Now, the older end who know what they're doing still do this. But people are not flouring up meat anymore. You know, they're just chucking meat in a pan. Put some flour on, and then when you fry your meat, you get a lovely caramelized crust on the outside. It brings the flour to the gravy when we make up our gravy, and it helps thicken, and it keeps all that meat moist inside. It's like a seasoning. You know, these old-fashioned ways work every time. They're tried and tested. Flour up your meat. Okay, I've got chopped onion, garlic, and I've got quite a lot of mushrooms. I've got 400 grams of mushrooms. I've got 200 packs. I've sliced some, I've quartered some. Some are in there that are small mushrooms or a whole. We're seeing mushrooms. It's steak and mushroom, beef and mushroom. So we want to see the mushrooms. Okay, let's get a pan on and get cracking. Grab yourself a pan. In there, a little bit of oil of choice. Flame on. And we're going to brown the meat. We're going to sear it all the way around and brown it. Today we are using a Tora Suet. We're keeping it very British. In there, our beef. Now I don't bother shaky with this. There's not that much flour in here. What's left, away. Sear up, come on. And we're going to use British mixed herbs. And there's a link in the description how to make mixed herbs. What we're looking to do is get some good hard colour on here. You know, get a good sear around your beef. Okay, it's not going to go all the way around, but get it round there as much as you can. I want to chuck it in the Instant Pot liner. Okay, when you've got a little bit of colour on there like that, take your Instant Pot liner and all that in there. all that gubbins in there. That is flavour, that is not burnt. That stays in. A little bit more oil, there's not enough in there. Butter, about a tablespoon going in there. Onions, garlic, just take out that rawness a little bit in there. Butter, nice little chunk of butter in there. We're going in with our mushrooms. Our mushrooms are going to soak all that up before they give off their water. All those mushrooms in there. Season to taste. A little bit of salt, not much. Now pepper. I like pepper, so that's going in. And I'm just going to cook those with my mixed herbs. About a teaspoon. Those herbs are going to rehydrate in the pan with this. I'm going to flavour all this up. I'm going to chuck it all in there. So easy. So just give these mushrooms a little chance in here to try and take a little bit of colour on. Wonderful smell coming out of this pan. Onions, garlic, mushrooms and that British mixed herbs. Absolutely superb. Real old-fashioned. Lovely. Okay, we got a nice little bit of cooking on there, look. In there with about a tablespoon of Worcester sauce. With about a tablespoon of tomato paste. Now this is just the classic combo of British English cooking, you know, tomato paste, Worcester sauce, beef stock or beef gravy granules or beef cubes. That's going in now. And the reason why I'm putting it all in here before I chuck it in that Instant Pot is I want the tomato and everything to be dissolved before going in the Instant Pot. That looks and smells absolutely fantastic. Flame off and that goes in our liner. It just doesn't get any easier cooking than this really, does it? Give it a little mix up in there. Make sure the meat and everything's not stuck on the bottom. That looks fantastic. Should be a nice little bit of gravy there as well, look. Okay, Instant Pot in there, lid on, pressure cook, and we want to be pressure cooking for about 25 minutes. There you go, leave it, job done, wash up. Okay, that's just going on to its 10 minutes to naturally release inside there, so that's cooked. We have to put together our pastry, our suet pastry. So there's no rush, that's got 10 minutes and then we're going to probably drain out the meat and the mushrooms and we're going to thicken the sauce and use a thicker sauce inside our pie. Okay, in here, self-raising flour. And we're going to go in there with a pinch of thyme, a little bit of salt. We're going to give that a little mix through so that that thyme goes all the way through that self-raising flour. That was easy enough. Okay, we want about 40 grams of butter. So let's just do that. Let's put that in there. That'll do. And we're going to want about 100 grams of suet. And 100 grams is going to be something like that. And then we're going to get our hands in and we're going to give it all a little bringing together like breadcrumbs, like we're making pastry. Because it is a pastry. Now, you don't have to add the butter if you don't want. You could actually just do more suet. but you know, the butter gives it such a lovely flavour through there. Okay, that's good enough. Right, what you want to do is add some water. We want about 4 tablespoons, something like that for this. So just put some water in. Now we want to make a nice dough. We don't want it too dry, and we definitely don't want it wet. Oh, I think that's perfect. Just look at that. Let's just bring that together. That's what we're looking at, look. A bit of a dough like that. Slightly sticky. Perfect. We want a top and we want all that sides. So we want about that much for the top. That will get that, and we want about that much for the sides. Job done. Now you want to get yourself some parchment paper. We're using this bowl, it's about 1 litre. I think that's what they determine it as. We want some parchment paper, and we want a ring of parchment paper in there. A little bit of a round end in there, look. Okay, so we want to go something like that. And that will fit in the bottom of there. Oh look, I've cut a flower. That will fit in the bottom of there to stop the pudding from sticking. So what we need to do is take a little bit of butter and give our bowl a good buttering out. Up the sides and on the bottom. Don't be frightened of buttering it. We don't want it all to stick. And what happens is when it steams, the butter flavour goes into the pastry. Fabulous. And just bob that in there like that. So we got that in there, our bowl. So we want to be rolling out a little bit of dough to fit that bowl, come up and a slight overhang. So a little bit of flour on there. Take what we decided was going to be the base and sides. And we want that rolling out. We got lovely, lovely herbs in there, look. Right, I think that should have got it. Oh, we ripped it, look. Oh, it's so delicate. Squash it back down. That'll be fine. In there. Make sure you keep an overhang. Oh, that looks good enough to me. One side. That has had the time. We can now let the pressure go. Pressure gone. Wait for it to drop down and we'll take the lid off. Right, what we need to do is roll just a little bit of this. We want a top on there. That smells wonderful. That should get it inside there, look. Okay, when that's dropped down, out of there, we want that out of there, and we need to thicken up that sauce. I want a thick sauce. That's a good gravy in there, look. But it's going to be too runny inside our pie. Let's get in there and get that pie filling out of there into a bowl like that. Making a mess everywhere, look. Oh, there's some good filling there. Okay, there's some super duper filling there, look. Look at that filling that's going in there. We need to thicken this. Now you can put it back on there, saute mode, or you can tip that into a pan, thicken it with the cornstarch slurry, and that's what we're going to do. Okay, that gravy in there. Oh, there's some goodness there, look at that. It's a simple procedure for all those people that don't make cornstarch slurries. We want about a tablespoon of cornstarch, corn flour in there, and we're going to add about the same water. So in there, with about the same amount of water, give that a mix up, chuck that in there, start to thicken that up. Can you see how thick this is getting very quickly, and that's what we want. Okay, when you've got a nice thickish gravy like that, off with the flame. That gets tipped back in there. Okay, tip some of that in there. Now we're not going to go crazy, we're going to reserve some as our gravy. That is more than enough in there. So we're just going to let that cool down a little minute before we add it to the pastry. Okay, because we're bringing the old-fashioned up to date and using the Instant Pot, you need a trivet, Instant Pot, liner, and about a cup of water. That'll do. It's all good. And what's going to happen? Our steamed pudding is going to sit on top of that trivet in there, and it's going to steam in or cook under pressure in the Instant Pot for 45 minutes. Perfect pudding. So instead of cooking all this half a day, we cook it all within about an hour and a half. Job done. So we need to be taking our pudding bowl, and we want to be adding our filling in there. So all it is a case of taking our lid, putting our lid on there, and squashing up the sides, and then fold over the sides into your basin. There we go. Now we're talking old-fashioned now. If it was the old-fashioned way, you would be putting on there your parchment paper, you would be putting a plate in it so it rises up, and you will be tying it with string after putting your foil on. We're not going to tie anything. We're going to squash the foil around there. So we've got our Instant Pot with our trivet. That goes in there like that. Right smack in the centre. That goes back in there. Put your lid on and hit pressure for about 40 minutes, 45 minutes. 45, there you go, job done. Wash up, clear away. When it's had its time, we need to be quick releasing the pressure. So all we do is flick the pressure switch on the back. That push out the little bit of steam. It's only steam, there's nothing else coming out of there. Don't forget we got it sat in a basin. So when the steam's gone and the plunger drops down, we get that out, let it rest about 5 minutes, and we're ready to serve. It's so easy. Out it comes, onto there. So it's a case of just take off your foil. Oh, look at that. Absolutely sensational. And you got to decide how you're going to get that out of there. Plate on. And we need to be turning it over. This thing is so hot. On there. Oh! Nearly dropped the bowl. There we go. Take off our parchment. And look at that. Right, just going to let that cool just about 2 or 3 minutes or so, because we cook that and everything's going to fall out. So just give it a couple of minutes, let it settle up a little minute. We're going to cut a slice, or we're going to cut some out. It's going to fall out anyway, but you know, come on. Oh, come on. I can't wait. My mouth is watering. Oh, we're coming in there. Oh, it's red hot. Look at this. It's all going to fall out. Oh my word. Look at that. On here. There is absolutely nothing finer than a suet pudding, and that is exceptional. That is taking the old-fashioned recipe and bringing it modern, cooking it modern, a lot quicker, same result, delicious. That is our beef and mushroom suet pudding. Look at that. Come on, we got to go on there with a bit of that thick gravy. Oh, now you're talking. Looky there, that is absolutely sensational. I mean, come on, look how soft that beef is. That is that is absolutely flipping amazing. That is unbelievable. And you know, for them that like a bit of brown sauce, HP, I'll put some there. Not all over it. This pie is sensational. The gravy is delicious. Really is delicious. Oh man. Mushrooms in there, look. Mushrooms have still got texture. Look at that. Because we didn't slice them very thin. That beef is exceptional. Look at that. Look at that. That is shin beef, one of the toughest cuts. But you know, it's one of the toughest cuts, but it's one of the best flavoured cuts if cooked properly. That is delicious. If you like what we're doing, don't forget, share with your friends. Tell them how easy it is to turn an old-fashioned recipe, bring it modern, still cooking it the traditional type way, but in a pressure cooker. Fantastic. If you like what we're doing, big thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, ring that bell. We'll catch you in the next video. That is off the charts.